fuel duty. Steph's going to tell us all about it. What's happening in the budget next week?
Yes, it's the budget next week, so there's lots of people speculating about what we might hear in it, and one of the rumours at the moment is that fuel duty could go up, and this is obviously the duty you pay on your fuel. Morning everyone. Yeah, fuel duty has been frozen in the UK since 2011, but with the Chancellor needing money and the oil price having fallen, could things be about to change? Well, there's growing speculation that there could be a 2p rise announced by George Osborne in the budget next week. Now, the Treasury Minister Damien Hinds will meet fuel campaigners to discuss this issue later. We'll talk to one campaigner in a minute, but first, here's a bit of a reminder for you of where your money goes when you fill up. So, if a litre of petrol at the pump costs you £1, the amount the oil company, the refiner and the distributor takes is about 20p. The retailer takes up to around 5p, and that leaves the rest to the Treasury, which currently takes around 58p per litre in fuel duty plus 20% in VAT, which is around 75% of the total price. Well, let's have a chat now with Howard Cox, who's the founder of the lobby group FairFuelUK, which campaigns for lower prices at the pumps. Howard, good morning to you. It's been 5 years since we last had a rise in fuel duty. Why is this such a big deal now that it could go up?
Good morning, Steph. You're absolutely right. I mean, 5 years we've enjoyed a freeze, and during that time we've enjoyed lower inflation, increased GDP, more jobs, and believe it or not, increased tax to the Treasury to the tune of 1.3 billion because of the fact of lower oil prices and a freeze in duty.
So why has there been this increase in tax then? If the fuel duty hasn't risen?
Well, what's happening is it is planned. There's always what's happened when Labour were in power. They planned an escalator, and we managed to defeat that for the last 5 years. And I think what's happening at the moment, and it is a planned rise, you talked about a rumour, it is planned to increase by inflation. And what's happening is that I think George Osborne is saying this is another easy touch. And motorists, 37 million motorists, why not just increase it by a penny or two? This will help pay off the deficit.
But motorists, as you say, have benefited from a fall in the oil price, though, and prices have come down quite a bit at the forecourts because of that, and the government does need more money in order to get rid of this deficit.
You're absolutely right again, but the point is, by cutting duty, he would generate more jobs and more income. It's been proven. Our report last week we published from the CEBR showed that if he actually increases duty by an inflation, he would take £5 billion away from consumer spending over the next 5 years. And if he does inflation plus a penny, which is what the rumour is, we're looking at £8 billion taken out of consumer spending, which means less jobs, less investment, less chance for haulage companies to buy cleaner emission fuel vehicles. And what we're saying, please, don't ruin what you've done, the good stuff you've done over the last 5 years.
On the other side of that, though, if fuel prices don't go up, if the duty doesn't go up, the Chancellor might have to make cuts elsewhere or put taxes up elsewhere. And that could mean, for example, less improvements to roads and other areas which, of course, affect drivers and the economy.
Yeah, again, you're making the assumption that actually cutting duty will actually take money away from the exchequer. It won't. People will spend more money. Consumers, he's got to trust consumers to spend by giving them more money. They are motivated when the tax goes down to do more, go out, go to hospitals, go to the cinema, go and spend, go and see people. And this impacts on actually distribution costs. We're backed by the haulage industry, and they very much are telling us that if a penny increase goes up in fuel duty, that will cost hauliers £30,000 on the bottom line, which means that we passed on to consumers and inflation would go up.
There's also an environmental side to this. Whenever we talk about cheap fuel being a good thing, others argue that actually, well, for the environment it isn't.
Yes, you're absolutely right again that we've got 1.2 million supporters, and I can assure you they want a cleaner and green and happy environment for their children. What is interesting is the paradox is that we're the only nation in the EU that actually charges a duty on diesel and petrol the same, whereas other major powerhouses like Germany and Italy and France, what they charge is lower. I mean, for example, in Greece, fuel duty for diesel is 30p less than petrol. So they motivate the economy in terms of distribution costs.
Howard, thank you very much for your time this morning. That's Howard Cox there from FairFuels UK, and of course we'll find out next week when the budget comes out on Wednesday what exactly is in it, and I'll be reporting on that.